Okay, so I wanted to jump on really quick and talk about a subject that I think goes around pretty often all over social media, where, I think it's a pandemic right now in the male side of life, and then it's a pandemic for the female side of life as well. But that is porn, and is it bad for your relationship? Now, first and foremost, I think a lot of people have different beliefs. And for some reason, there is this grandiose, I don't know if that's the right word, this grand belief. What does grandiose mean, actually? Hold on, I'm squirreling. Give me 2 seconds. Grandiose. Impressive or imposing in appearance or style, excessively grand or ambitious. Okay, whatever. Yeah, I guess it kind of works. This grandiose idea that porn is okay in a relationship. And then there's the other side, which is no, it's not okay. This is one of the rare subjects where like there really is no middle ground. It's just extremes. It's extremes of is it okay, is it not okay? And I'm gonna give you my personal belief, which I personally, I'm a very faithful, monogamous, God-fearing man. I believe it's not okay. And I'm going to explain why. And I'm not going to come at this as like a cult-like attack of, oh, this is bad because you have to say 10 Hail Marys and fuck your belief. Whatever. I'm not going to like attack anyone. I'm just going to be as practical and as logical as possible and come from a very grounded place of just my own perspective. And, obviously being a dating coach and talking to multiple different relationships, this is a big subject that comes up quite a lot. It's one of the, if not the biggest topics I have to break down in life, in my career. So let's jump in. Is porn bad? And if so, how? Well, first and foremost, let's quickly take a peek at the other argument of like, why is porn not bad? And people argue, well, it spices up the relationship. It adds some flair, it can help regulate the relationship. It's not harmful. The biggest thing I hear is it's just a thing. It's a thing people do. Everyone does it. Seems to be the biggest argument, which is just, I'm sorry, but if your argument for anything is it's just a thing people do it, that's just not a good argument. Like, let's just be logical and practical for a minute. That's not a good argument. That's just bandwagon peer pressure. Okay. Cool. That's pretty much it, honestly, on that side of the spectrum. Like, I'm not even kidding. That's like literally it. Like the amount of people that argue it's not hurting anybody, or, it's just, I just need to express myself. Okay. All right. Well, the fact that you need to express yourself in such a manner is the problem. And that's what we're going to get into right now. So why do I think it's bad? Well, when there's a natural development when it comes to courtship, love, reproduction, intimacy, two people connecting, whatever it is, there is this natural linear progression of how that relationship develops, which is two people become attracted to each other. They develop a connection. The connection grows and grows and grows until eventually you sleep together and make babies and it's happily ever after, right? You don't just skip to the end. You don't. You have all this meat in the middle, right? And so the problem is that when we're really, really young, and this is usually what happens, is men at a very, very young age get exposed to, this type of adult content, and they get hit with the dopamine or the serotonin that follows an orgasm, right? Because they see these things like, oh my God, I've never seen a naked person before. And then all these emotions flood in because they're, it's their body's natural instinct of like, oh shit, we skipped this part already. Oh fuck, I didn't really, your brain's still primal to a certain extent. Like it doesn't know what's going on. So it just triggers a reaction, right? You're too young to have developed the connection step, right? So let's say step 1, attraction, step 2, connection, step 3, sex, right? Well, what happens is you go from step 1, attraction, to step 3, sex. And you keep feeding this type of pathway, right? This step 1, 2, 3. And you keep jumping to step 3. And every time you jump to step 3 and you don't do the connection part that you would get with an actual person, you slowly erase it. And then all of a sudden, your desire to develop step 2 goes away. And you don't notice it though. You don't notice it. Every now and then you get put in these pits of, oh, I'm so alone. I wish I had somebody. Like, there is a part of you that's surrounded by influence to pursue step 2. But subconsciously, what you don't realize is happening is you're getting rid of step 2. Like, you're losing the desire, losing the subconscious, right? Unconscious, the non-thoughts, the not forefront. You are losing the second nature of being able to do step 2. And a lot of the time, men who have fallen into this problem are horrible courters or dates or boyfriends or husbands or whatever it is. They hit so many more roadblocks than everyone else because this erosion of the need for step 2 to actually connect and develop with someone has disappeared. And here's the kicker, because I guarantee you there's people screaming at me right now going, this is fucking bullshit. That's not true. No fucking way, blah, 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 blah. What the people with this type of addiction, what they believe is step 2 is lust. They think, oh no, I want connection. I want connection. I want connection. No, you're seeking lust. You're just seeking the same thing you're getting from this content in a different format. You're using connection as a camouflage to just skip to step 3 in different ways with an actual person, right? The one-night stands, the bachelors, the fuck boys, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. You're skipping step 2. Because you have no desire for step 2. Let's be honest. You have no desire for step 2. And this is why. This is going to solve a lot of problems. Okay. I'm about to blow everyone's mind. Male or female, you're about to be like, oh my God, holy shit. When you sleep with a guy and he gets post-nut clarity, that's a huge correlation, connection, whatever you want to call it, to this fucking problem. He wants step 1, which is attraction, and he wants step 3, which is sex. And so he fakes step 2 to get to step 3, and then after you have sex, all of a sudden he disappears. And you're like, oh my God. Holy shit. What just happened? You get blindsided. Even the guys don't know what's going on. I guarantee you, there are men that have done this, that are listening to this right now, that are going, holy fuck, that's what I did. They don't even know what's going on. All they know is that they were super into you, you had sex, and all of a sudden they weren't into you anymore. And they have no fucking clue why. That's why. Let's go back to how I said this subconscious, unthought, not forefront, background erosion of your desire for step 2. You are killing step 2, which is connection. You are losing the need for connection. And that's why you yourself don't even realize you just lose feelings all of a sudden. That's why. So, and for the girls listening, that's why he just up and dipped. Okay. And I say this all the time, which is you need to reserve yourself or at least make him put in some work. This dude, if he's sleeping with you on the first date, this motherfucker best be checking every single box like it's nobody's business. But also, I would just make him wait. Just make him wait because he wants to go from step 1 to step 3 as fast as possible. That is the pathway that porn supports is, hey, in an instant, I'm going to satisfy you. Stop copying porn. Don't, in an instant, I'm going to satisfy you. You need to let the connection build itself. And then if that person gets there, they get there. It's his job to be able to open you up. Don't open so easily. Because if you, and when I when I say that, I just mean like hold up. I'm not saying be a. I don't want to trigger anyone. Fuck it. I'm not. Don't be a bitch, okay? Don't be super mean and challenging and fucking attack him and like, oh, but they don't do that, okay? No, you know what I'm talking about. Don't do that, okay? Just slow down. You can have fun and you can be amazing and you can be all this. Just slow down. Make him work for it at least a little bit. Like you don't have to, test him, so to speak, of, like how much money do you make? Don't, please, dear God, don't do that. But don't just put out like effortlessly, because as I've said before, I've said in the past, players are not patient men. Husbands are patient men. And so, okay, cool. End that. Let's now revert back to what does it mean for those who don't have an addiction or don't watch porn, don't blah, 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 blah. You'd be, to be honest with you, it's the polar opposite. They now are so built into step 1 and step 2 going to step 3, right? So the connection leads to sex, that to actually be given or even supplied some type of adult stimulant or porn-like material doesn't work. In fact, it's almost repulsive. It's like, ew, what are you doing? Who are you? Like, stop. Like, it's uncomfortable. It's uncomfortable because their brains have developed step 2. They've developed this need for connection. They've gone from attraction to connection to sex. And so that's what they're used to. And then all of a sudden, this explicit or adult content is actually a turn off. And they go, "Oh, no, I don't like that, like, at all." And then you look at people who don't have this problem, and all of a sudden you start to realize, "Oh, wow, they have extremely healthy relationships. Wow, they still have sex. Wow, they still love each other. Wow, they're still super passionate." Why is that? Because they know that their sexual desire comes from connection. And everyone wants to have sex. It's just they know that in order to get there needs to be connection. And so what do? They constantly work on connection. Gah! If you're listening to the podcast, you can't see this, but I just flailed my arms around because it's like, fucking brain exploded. Oh my God, I get it now. It's these eureka moments. I'm telling you, the world is simple. Just pay attention. So, if you are a woman in a relationship and porn is a part of that relationship and you're uncomfortable with it, put your fucking foot down and keep it there. If you're in a relationship with porn and you're fine and you love your relationship, that's fine. Do whatever the fuck you want. You don't have to take what I say as gospel. In fact, do whatever you want. If it works for you, it works for you. Where I come from, I believe that type of content cannot exist without also hurting or damaging the sanctity of your connection. Right? Because it's like anything else. It's like nicotine. It's like cigarettes. It's like coffee. It's like any type of supplement or stimulant. It's this shortcut to this desire. And the more you shortcut, the less you actually work on the meat of the situation, which is the connection. The more you can we'll just skip to the fiery goodness and not actually earn it. And then you get so used to that, you just sort of like, fuck it, I don't even want to earn it anymore. And then all of a sudden the relationship's dead. That's just my belief though. Now, if you are a guy and you are in a relationship and you are struggling with this, if you want to stop, you need to stop. Let me just put it that way. If you want a really deep, connected, long-term, lifelong relationship, you fucking love each other, you need to stop. That's my opinion. But like I said, I've seen this over and over and over, time and time and time again. You gotta stop. You gotta stop. If you are so driven if you are controlled by your lust, it's going to take you away from your relationship. And the worst part about it is you won't even know it's happening until it's too late. I promise you it's hurting the relationship. Even if you think, oh, well, I can watch this content and still love my girl. Just wait. Just wait. It might not be a year, might not be 3 years, might not be 5 years, might not be 10. But someday, it's that erosion is going to be too much. And you are going to slip away from your wife, from your girlfriend, from your relationship, whatever it is. You got to stop. You got to stop. If you don't want to stop, cool. Don't get into a serious relationship. Simple as that. Fuck around. You want to fuck around? Fuck around. Be honest about it. Don't trick some girls into thinking you're this, fucking happily ever after, The Notebook, Ryan Gosling ass motherfucker. Don't do that. Just be honest. Hey, I'm only here for fun. I promise you'll find women that are in the same genre. They're only here for fun. You don't have to lie. But if you want a serious relationship, I just think you gotta stop. You gotta stop. You gotta figure it out. Taper off. Cold turkey. Whatever the fuck you gotta do. You just gotta work towards the end. And then once you quit, it's like quitting anything else. You just gotta get good at saying no. You keep saying no until you get good at saying no. All right. There's always going to be that memory of, what it was like, with my nicotine. And I'd been smoking since I was like 16 years old. I'm over a year sober now. But I'm not going to lie to you. I still get that urge. I still do. But I just got really good at saying no. And I'm so far into sobriety, I just wouldn't risk that for the world. Like I'm doing good. I'm doing good, and I like where I'm at, and I'm proud of myself. And it's one of those things you get so far ahead, you're like, I can't let this go. Like, I'm doing so good right now. And that's actually how I quit. I told myself 3 days, and then I got 3 days, and I was like, oh my God, I've made it a whole 3 days. Like, I can't give up now. Then I made it a week, and I was like, oh my God, I made it a week, and then a month, and then, and now it's a year, and I'm just like, holy fuck, like, I did it. But the urges are still there. You just get really good at saying no. And eventually you get so good at saying no that you just have no interest anymore. So anyways, I want to talk about that because it was it popped into my head today, and like that distinction between step 1, 2, and 3 and just skipping from step 1 to step 3. And that's why it damages your need for connection and hurts you in the long run because you basically deplete your ability to actually resonate with a partner on a healthy level. And there's so many pieces that come to connection, communication, synergy, polarity, attachment, conflict management, lifelong relationship success, ideals, boundaries, standards, all sorts of stuff. There's so many different categories that stem from just connection. So to erode an entire concept for lust or for just sexual gratification is such a low form of life, in my opinion. So that's just my thoughts on that topic. I hope this helps someone out. I hope, if you're watching this and if this is something you deal with, use this as a wake-up call. It's like, okay, it's time to make some changes. It's time to fix some shit. All right. Well, I love y'all. Hope you enjoy the episode. Much love. Deuces.